Do you see them? Those are genuine California raisins. So why are those California raisins there? Well, you see, they were a gift from my mother. That means they have sentimental value. They're important. Hide my lips, but don't you dare reply, 'cause I am just a dinosaur, alive inside a screen. Wring me out and hang me up to dry. I don't believe in dinosaurs, I know ghosts are real. What's up, guys? Sorry if my brain sounds a little funny. I've been mentally ill lately. I've just been, thinking a lot about a lot of stuff. I have a lot of irons in the fire. A lot of different ideas of things I want to talk about, things I want to make like more like high effort content, real videos about. And I got so ahead of myself that I guess I kind of forgot to really say what my mission statement is with this channel and like what I'm really trying to do. So I thought maybe, I'm having a bit of an off day today. I feel tired as hell, so instead of racking my brain to come up with something actually interesting to talk about, I'll just kind of make this a little summary of like why I'm making videos now, what my plan is for the future, and why I didn't, I don't know. For as long as I can remember, my life has been a directionless spiral of just trying to make the best of everything. Just constantly trying to make the best of a bad situation. Or, I don't know, just trying to find a way to be happy as best I can in the moment. Not really working that hard towards any particular goal, because I could never really see a future for myself. I couldn't imagine one. Anyway, like, when I was young, I just kind of assumed that one day I would have, like, a wife and a kid, because that's just the kind of picture-perfect lifestyle that is always advertised to you, at least in America. Corporate America really, really wants you to marry and reproduce. That's, like, the whole point of life. And, for a long time I couldn't really consider any alternatives. I didn't really know what I wanted to do with my life. I just kind of had a vague idea that I would be an artist of some kind. Because, I don't know, I just knew, like from a really young age, I just knew that like school was kind of bullshit, and I hated it. And I hated schoolwork. I hated the way that other people treated me. I hated the way that teachers would talk down to me. I hated the way that other kids would be just really cruel and mean to me because they could kind of sense that I was different somehow. At the time, I didn't know I was autistic. I didn't know I was LGBT. I didn't know any of that stuff. I just, I just tried my best to be myself and be nice and be friendly like everyone told me to, because that's how you're supposed to make friends. You just be your natural, authentic self, and then friends will come to you. And for most of my life, that's not what happened. I mean, I only ever had like one or two friends at a time for most of my childhood, And like the friends I did have, um, they never lasted long. It would usually be like 1 to 2 years. That was like the average shelf life of my friendships. I didn't have any like childhood best friends that I grew up with or anything like that. I mean, I guess my parents moved around quite a bit, but like I went to two different schools. I went to two different schools. You'd think that going to the same school for so many years would make it easy to find like a friend group that I could entrench myself in for like long term, and that just didn't happen. And I just kind of figured out really quickly that school was bullshit. And I think it's because I sniffed out like I didn't know the words to like how to describe it at the time, but basically the way public schools are in America are that they are training you to be a part of the workforce when you grow older. They're supposed to give you the work ethic that you need to survive in the absolute hellscape that is corporate America. You need to be willing to put your personal identity and your personality, like you need to put that stuff aside. You have to leave that shit at the door when you come into work and clock in and spend the whole day in your ugly, boring, gray stone building made of concrete, just toiling away all day, every day, grinding away at the same meaningless tasks over and over again. And I didn't like doing my schoolwork, so I just wouldn't do it most of the time. And my parents, obviously being Republicans, they got really mad at me and they would tell me, like, no one likes doing this, but it's just the way it is. And I'd say, well, why is it that way? Why can't we change it? Can't we make it better? And they'd be like, yeah, we all wish we could, but you can't. It just is the way it is. And that didn't sit right with me, obviously. That made no goddamn sense. Because surely the system was made by people, and if enough people hate it, if nobody likes it the way it is, why do we let it be the way it is? And, I was just a kid, and I couldn't really articulate these feelings to people, but I understood that from a very young age. And, growing up, I was obsessed with movies and video games and books. I loved reading books when I was a kid. And I just wanted to, I don't know. I would say that this was the period in my life that instilled in me two core principles that have stuck with me for my entire life up to now. There are two traits that I admire above all else, that I covet more than anything, and that is authenticity and creativity. Creativity being a sort of like, it's like a form of like, to me that's like a form of expression. Like I really love creative people. I love people who create things. I've always admired that. I really wanted to be one of those people. And so for most of my childhood and like teenage life, I assumed that that's what I would do. Is one day I would be an artist. I would make some kind of magnum opus that would make me super rich and famous, like a George Lucas or something. And I tried. I really tried. Like throughout high school, I worked my butt off trying to write and illustrate my own comic. I wanted to make my own comic series, and it was going to be this huge epic fantasy adventure, and it was going to sell millions of copies and make me world famous. And it was going to be about a female protagonist. It was going to center around like a strong woman character, but I was going to make her like cool and not cringe like all those other girl boss characters you see in the movies these days. And I even had an idea that because one of my friends after high school, she shortly came out as transgender, and she gave me the idea that I could sort of sneakily like write the main character of my comic to like be trans, but it would be like a plot twist. So I would like get everyone all over the world like super invested in my comic, and then gotcha, this character was trans the whole time and you love her, so you can't deny it. And that was like my plan for being like a fucking cool, like progressive, I guess, even though I was still very much in denial about my own queer identity. I guess that was just my outlet at the time. It came out in a different way. Because, I mean, I guess this is why I value authenticity so much. I have always had such a hard, impossible time expressing myself authentically because of the way that kids were so mean and so cruel to me. When they would bully me, when they would shove me and take away my things and break them and call me homophobic slurs and other things of that nature. You know, I learned from a very young age that when I expressed myself honestly, people didn't like me and they would be mean to me and they would hurt me. So I kind of stopped expressing myself as much. And I thought all of my friends at school, or at least like the other, like, how do I say this? The other neurodivergent kids who got bullied about as much as I did, they didn't seem to be as bothered by it as I was. Almost like they didn't even consider that, like, being normal or fitting in was something they should want. It's like they just didn't care. It didn't occur to them. And I thought they were dumb at the time. I thought they were being idiots because I'm like, guys, why are you like openly talking about how much you love Star Wars and Naruto? They're gonna make fun of you. They're gonna beat us up. So I learned how to mask from a pretty young age. And to this day, you know, when I come out and tell people that yes, I'm autistic, the reaction is almost always the same. It's either like a stare of confusion of like, okay, like no you're not, like, but like they're not saying that out loud, or so they either brush it off or they say something along the lines of, wow, I never would have guessed you were autistic. I mean, and then they say something like kind of unintentionally mean, like, oh, but you're so high functioning, or like, oh, you're nothing like my little cousin, you don't act autistic. And it's like, why do you think those are okay things to say? First of all, I don't think describing human beings with terms like high or low functioning is okay at all. I think that's incredibly dehumanizing and gross. That's always rubbed me the wrong way. Like, fuck you. Second of all, that when people give me the like, oh, you don't act autistic, all I hear when you say that to me is like, wow, you talk pretty good for a retard. Like, don't go there. What the fuck? I started going off on a tangent about getting bullied in school. But what I'm trying to say is that because I learned those instincts so early on and learned how to mask and kind of like hide aspects of myself that made other people would point things out about me and be like, you do this thing and that's weird, or you do this thing and it makes you look so stupid. And then I'd just be like, well, like I'd feel like deep shame and embarrassment and I'd like turn away and just kind of like remove myself from the situation. Just like instantly like, nope, 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 I'm dissociating from this. I don't want to be a part of this. No, no, no. And so I guess that's kind of my life story in a nutshell, is just constantly having these like disconnecting myself from my body and the situation in reality that I am in, trying to remove myself from this vessel and try to just get through life so that I can hopefully get to the next point where I can just sit down and enjoy my stories, enjoy my books, my movies, whatever, and just retreat back into my mind where I'm in my safe little place in my fantasy land where no one can hurt me. So, creativity is the method of escapism. Authenticity is the method of being present in reality. That is how I see it. If you can manage to do both of those things at the same time, if you can excel at creativity and at authenticity, and create something brutally honest and real and meaningful, I think that's the most beautiful thing that you can possibly do. If you're just a normal person, like you're not like, I don't know, some kind of like, if you're not like some like evil like, I don't know, like a pedophile or a politician or something, like if you're just a regular person and you're being totally authentic about who you are, I think that's great. I could respect that, even if you're a bit of a dick. I still respect that more than putting up a front to pretend that you're someone you're not so you can trick people into liking you. Because I tried doing that when I was in high school. I got so lonely and so afraid of never having any friends that I tried to put up a front of being like one of the normal like cool people, and it didn't work. I didn't make any long-lasting friendships, and I felt horrible all the time. I was really depressed. And after all that effort, like changing the way I dressed, changing my hair and everything, like, I got like a girlfriend, which I like wanted so badly for so long because I thought that would make me happy. And then I got my girlfriend, and I didn't know what to do with her once I had her. I was a really boring person without I had not refined my palette. I didn't have any like cool interests or hobbies or anything going on in my life. All I had was like an encyclopedic knowledge about like the games and movies I liked. It was like my entire personality was like non-existent. It was just the things I consumed. So naturally, that girl dumped me after about a month, and I entered a really deep depression. Not her fault, by the way. I love her. She's great. She's the coolest. She's still a friend of mine to this day. We're cool. But yeah, that was like the lowest time of my entire life, I think. Like I'm talking like like I was like low. Like I'm talking this was the period in my life where I was watching Watamote and I could relate to it like almost beat for beat. Like almost everything in the show. I was like, "Yes, that's me. I have either done something similar to that or something similar to that has happened to me and it made me want to die." So, what changed? Why am I here now? Why am I expressing these sentiments now? Well, I've had some time to think it over, and throughout my life, all my creative endeavors, my attempts at making comics or YouTube videos or whatever, pretty much all of them ended up really mediocre and fell flat and didn't go anywhere. But I'm doing it now for a few reasons. One being that my living situation has finally stabilized for the first time in years. I feel like I have like a steady income. I have a place to live in that's kind of mine. I'm not like sharing the place with a bunch of roommates. It's just me and my partner. And my partner works a lot. So I have a lot of me time. I have a lot of time to just turn on the camera and yap into it without any interruptions or anything. I have total privacy for the first time in years. I feel like I'm this close. Like I'm this close to getting it, to getting the things I want. Authenticity and creativity. I've pretty much got the authenticity part down pat. Because around 2021, like early 2021, I started exploring, things about like LGBT boards, like forums and stuff, like YouTubers. And I came to the conclusion that I was both bisexual and transgendered. So now I'm a non-binary trans woman. I'm living my best life. I experimented with all sorts of stuff and have dated many different people and come to some pretty firm conclusions about who I really am. And I have made a ton of effort to be like honest and open with myself and with my friends. And I've made a lot more like good, healthy, solid, long-term friendships, and some of those people I would consider family because we're so close. And yeah, just allowing myself to be free from like social norms that I thought could make me happy that only made me miserable, freeing myself from that bondage and freeing myself from like expectations of like, society, my parents, whatever. Just choosing to say, fuck it all, fuck my dad, fuck everything. No one can tell me who to be. And it was such a joyous and thrilling and mind-boggling and treacherous and terrifying adventure. But just by expressing myself honestly and being friendly and sincere, I made a lot of honest connections with a lot of people. And I think I finally hit that point. You know, I've had those experiences, I have all those friends, and I can kind of be whoever I want to be. Like, my future is pretty much open. I got the things I wanted most. I have a partner who loves me. I have friends and family who love me. And, God, where am I going with this? I'm getting older. And the older I get, the more embarrassed I get about the fact that I have yet to pursue anything truly creative. I have not accomplished anything creative besides some cute little sketches and stuff in my notebook. My ideas for comic books never materialized into anything. All my attempts at writing scripts, they were garbage, and I deleted them or threw them out because I didn't like them. They were no good. And the older I get, I feel like that was okay in high school, and that was even okay in college because I was still taking like creative writing classes. But then college didn't really teach me a whole lot of stuff I didn't already know. It was mostly just for, to practice writing. And as much as I practiced, I just couldn't get anywhere. I still didn't like any of my ideas. I didn't like any of my stories. And I think the problem was that I didn't have enough life experience. I didn't have enough like interesting developments in myself or my life to inspire anything. I was not inspired. I am in my like mid to late 20s, and the older I get, the closer I get to 30, the more I think I can't stop thinking about this line from the movie Tick, Tick, Boom, starring Andrew Garfield. In that movie, he's working at a diner part-time, and he has this, like, the cheapest, shittiest apartment ever because he's a starving artist type. That's what he wants, is to be a playwright. And the movie, he says, he's talking to his friends about how his 30th birthday is coming up, and he's absolutely dreading it. He's fucking terrified. And they ask him why, and he tells them, when you're in your 20s, you're a writer who waits tables. When you're in your 30s, you're a waiter with a hobby. Absolutely dreadful, absolutely terrifying. The most existentially, like, dreadful thing I could possibly imagine, being a waiter with a hobby. Dear God. So, as some of you watching this may already know, a good chunk of my inspiration, I've been influenced by a lot of different creators over the years. And there was one that stood above all others, who inspired me the most because her internet persona kind of had a tremendous impact on me and my ability to think critically and analyze the media that I was consuming instead of just mindlessly consuming for the sake of it. She kind of gave me the tools that I needed to figure this stuff out. And recently, after interacting with her a little bit, and her just kind of gently nudging me and a bunch of other people in her fandom to, actually do something, to make something. Even if it doesn't go anywhere, like not as a form of like content creation, but as a form of just expression and communication. And it was like when she said that, it all just kind of clicked and it all made sense to me. I'm like, yeah, like why not? I can do whatever I want. I'm an adult. I've got everything under my belt. I've got everything I could ever need. So I've already got the authenticity part down. Let's pursue creativity. Let's see where this can take me, And I'm not looking to get famous. I'm not looking to get rich. I don't want any of those things. I just want to make something that I can be remembered for. I want to make something that other people will look at and go, oh my gosh, that's totally me. Or oh my gosh, like this is so real. This is so this is so good, I want people to feel, I want people to feel things that I'm trying to communicate through the camera into your straight into your retinas, into your brain, into your heart. I want you to feel what I feel. I want you to connect to me through my art and through my creativity. I want to do the same thing to you that all of the art that I've consumed over the course of my life, all the things I've experienced, I want to do for you what those things did for me. I want to leave my mark. Because I honestly can't think of anything else more worth doing. Okay. I think I'm going to cut it off here because the battery of my camera is dying. And, oh god, I've already been yapping for like almost half an hour. Okay. Yeah. I love you all. Hugs and kisses. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. This video is sponsored by Raycon earbuds. Use the code on the fuck. Is that a dead pixel? What is that? Is that on the screen? Oh shit. Oh fuck. I hope that's not there for the whole video. That's gonna it's gonna piss me off. Okay, well, video's done. Goodbye, lovelies.